Hi, this is the second little video about the information you can get from just silver hallmarks on British silver. So on this one we have HA, which is the maker's mark at the top. We've got a lion's head, you can just about see a lion there, which means that it was assayed in London. We've got a lion, or that's a leopard's head I think, because we've got a lion, which is Britain. And then we've got the letter F, which is the date mark. And then we've got the head of Victoria. It's not very good, very clear, but you can just about see that there is a head there of Victoria. So we've got all the information we need to start doing an investigation into this item. So we go into Google and go into silver date marks. We press London dates and we got the Victorian ones, and we can go down here and we've got the F. So we've got the F in a sort of a shield with a little top bit in there, and so it says 1881. So this was made in assayed in 1881 in London. Now, this is let's have a look at it, the actual thing itself. It's like a little fish slice or a cake slice. I'm not sure what it is. It might be a cake slice or a fish slice. Quite ornate, which is very much of the Victorian period. They do like to have things ornate. And then you've got some initials of maybe the family that owned this at the top there. Little beaded around the sides, and then a little. So that's the fish knife or cake knife of 1881. So we know the date, Victorian, 1881. We can then go into London maker's marks up here, HA. And we can scroll down here until we find one that looks like the one on here. And it is that HA there with a little dot in between. So if we go back again here. I can find it with my thingy. There you got H. And there's a little dot, A in a little oval. So it looks like it's that one there. And you can see from this it says Atkins Brothers, first registered in 1858. And there's more registration marks down there. And then eventually to 1935 was the last time it was registered, in 1905 to 1935. And the things they made were box, cigarette cases, communal flasks, flatware, which is probably come under flatware, mugs, pepperettes, salt, spoons, trays. And they come from the Truro Works in Matilda Street, Sheffield. That gives you a bit of the information. So Truro Works. Strangely, it wasn't assayed in Sheffield rather than London, but there you go. And then you can go into London makers, and this gives you a little synopsis of the Atkins brothers. So silversmiths, and that's the place, the works there. So the brothers were Harry Wright Atkins and Edward Thomas Atkins and Frank Shaw Atkins. They were the sons of Henry Atkins, trade catalogues date the business from 1750, though this probably refers to Henry's activities. In 1853, his sons registered a silver mark at Atkins Brothers and occupied Truro Works, Matilda Street. This has been the factory of Joseph Cutts, but the Atkins expanded it. The companies produced included cutlery, silver and electroplate, Britannia metals and jewellery. In 1871, the factory employed 138 workers, 78 men and boys and 60 women and girls. A decade later, 168 workers were employed at Truro Works, over 100 men and boys and over 60 women and girls. Atkins Brothers had various silver marks, some of which included the letters HA. It owned the name True Rocks and a trademark of the fleur-de-lis held in a hand pictured. Like Maplin and Webb, Atkins Brothers was active in lucrative London market. Harry W. Atkins headed the firm's operations in the capital, where Atkins Brothers had an office in Charterhouse Street, Holborn Circus in Sheffield. In Sheffield, Truro Works was managed by Edward and Frank. After the death in 1865 in the childbirth of Frank's wife, Eliza Ann Smith, the brothers shared Highbury House in Kenwood Road. Edward was a bachelor. Harry lived in Norton Lees, Muswell Hill. In January 1889, his home was burgled by an armed gang who shot his son, George, a stockbroker, twice in the chest. He survived. At about the turn of the century, the Atkins brothers passed. So very close to this date, there was the shooting. That's interesting, isn't it? Sad, but interesting. Pull this down a bit more. Harry died. About this turn of the century, the Atkins brothers passed from the scene. Harry died of a heart attack at the Charterhouse branch on 2nd of June 1896. Frank died in Sheffield on the 21st of May 1901, aged 63. He was buried at the General Cemetery. His son Frank, 1864 to 1925, who was also a partner, retired in the following year. The firm was left in the hands of Edward T. Atkins, the last surviving brother, and three sons of Harry. Harry, 1862 to 1940, Edward, 1857 to 1935, and Oliver, 1875 to 1945. In 1906, Edward retired. He died in Sheffield in October 1907, aged 75, and was cremated at Intake. A memorial gravestone is at the Underbank Unitarian Chapel. He was recalled as a practical silver worker who took little part in public affairs, but was a cricket enthusiast and one of the best. Let's get that again. And one of the best whist players in the north of England. Sheffield Daily Telegraph, 1907. At his death, Atkins Brothers was probably amongst the top 10 silversmiths in Sheffield, with a workforce in the hundreds. One contemporary estimate was 350. Certainly the founders became wealthy. Harry W. Atkins left an estate worth $34,336. Edward Atkins, $218,409. Frank Shaw Atkins, $122,245. And Frank Atkins, $250,434. By 1914, when the firm was at its peak, new family management was in place. These included Harry Edwards and Oliver, though the latter retired in the year, and also Edward Harriet Duckworth Atkins, 1886 to 1969, a son of Edward, and Edward Sr., who was a son of Harry. They continued to run the firm in the interwar period. In 1925, the business became Atkins Brothers Silversmiths Limited, capitalised at 100,000, and still privately owned. Its workforce had fallen to about 150 in 1918, but retained it retained a loyal core of workers. Recorded that in 1938, of 31 senior Atkins employees, the average length of service was 47 years, and one man had spent 63 years at the firm. The chairman of the interwar period was Harry Atkins, who died in March 1940, aged 77. So there you've got quite a bit extensive history of that, so I'll let you read that if you want to. A bit further. True Works was abandoned and by 1980s was derelict. However, in 1990s it was renovated and became a residence for students. So there you've got a picture of where it is. True Works. So I hope that gives you some information that we can get just from a small little item like this. So from this we can get all that information and the history behind it. I hope you found this of some interest, and if you did, give it a like please, and subscribe, and look at my other videos. I have a number of videos, mainly of historical interest, some of gardening. So I hope you found this of interest, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.